All right, welcome back to the channel. Max Tornow here. I want to talk about heroin for the brain. The issue that most people have is they're treating their brain as if they're a drug addict. They're feeding their brain a lot of BS. Look, everybody's talking about feed your body healthy food. Everybody knows what healthy food is, and everybody knows what bad food does for you, but nobody talks about the healthy food for your brain. So if you're someone who likes to become successful, who likes the idea of thriving, of learning, of becoming better, of changing their life situation for the better, then in this video I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can get your brain on your side so you're excited about doing the right things, you're excited about thriving, you're excited about learning, and about working hard. So if that sounds good, then I invite you to stay to watch this video, and let's get started.
Have you ever wondered whether there's more to life than a boring dead-end 9-to-5 job? Have you ever dreamed about breaking free, traveling the world, making good money, and just enjoying life? No more office dress code, no morning commute, no boss. This channel is for you, so here's to your freedom.
All right, so as we are in the lobby of my new living arrangements here, it's very nice kind of place to shoot a video. I want to basically talk about the BS that is filling up your brain nowadays, because on the highest instance you have the mainstream narrative. The mainstream narrative of like, you are not special, people who are successful are special. If you want to become rich, you need to have the entrepreneurial DNA and you have to know the right people and it's all about luck. All this mainstream narrative BS that is being fed into you. On top of that, or down below one layer, you have the news that is feeding you fear, is trying to fear monger as much as it possibly can. And then further down below you have social media and whack influencers that are showing you their fake life and how great it all is, without ever showing you that it's actually hard work that you require in order to get somewhere, which is something, by the way, I'm always trying to be like a counter force. I always try to show that there is actually hard work that you need to get through in order to get to the results. And of course, if you put it all the way down to your immediate environment, maybe school, maybe the teachers that you're dealing with, maybe even your old friend circle, or even worse, your family is telling you to not step up, is telling you to give up, is telling you that you're not good enough, or maybe they're not even telling it to you openly, maybe they're just making you feel that you're not good enough, right? And if you really think about it, of course, you're sitting here watching this video, and in the back of your head, you literally have the narrative repeating in your brain, oh, I'm not good enough, this is meant for someone else, I gotta wait, I'm not ready yet, I'm not good enough yet, and so on and so forth. Of course you're having these self-doubts, because look at the BS that is your brain, that is feeding into your brain. Look at the BS that is being put in there. So I want to bring a little bit of awareness into that. And the counterbalance is something that I call the brain marinade. Okay, this is a little bit of a fancy word that I've come up with myself almost 10 years ago. I kind of felt like, just like you would put a good piece of steak into a marinade to get it all the nutrients to make it taste better, this is what you, metaphorically speaking, are doing with your brain. You're putting into this marinade of the right mindsets, of the right motivation, of the right realization that everything is possible, of the right work ethic, and so on and so forth. You put all these ingredients in that marinade and you're putting your mind into it, right? Basically what I want to tell you is that there are certain things that you should feed your brain with, and there are certain things that you should stay away from as much as possible. For example, negativity. And I know that to a degree you cannot escape negativity to its fullest. Maybe you're stuck in a household where people are just predominantly very negative, but to as much of a degree as it allows you, cut out negativity. A big, literally important thing that I would suggest to you is stop watching the news, stop reading newspapers. Get away from that. Every single very successful person that I've met in my life, that I've collaborated with, doesn't watch the news ever, because at this point it's literally just fear-mongering and headlines and trying to shock and putting all these triggers for dopamine so that you watch this news piece, that you read the news article, and so on and so forth. I always put it like this: if it's important, you're gonna get to know it somehow. Someone is gonna tell you about it. A very important, predominant example that you can see is 2020, the whole quarantine and everything that's going on. I mean, how many people have been led by the news, have been fear-mongered to a crazy degree, where people are starting to yell at each other on the street if they're not wearing a mask across the street. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. Of course, that's where people are getting with all the fear-mongering, with all the fear that is being fed to them. right? That's a very bad, it's a foul smelling marinade that your brain is in right now. So stay away from anything that is negative. Surround yourself with people that are more positive. Now, they don't need to be blindly positive and say everything is great and everything is wonderful, but at the same time, it should be people that believe in possibilities, that believe in hard work, and that believe that work can actually lead to the end result. And they're not just throwing their hands in the air saying so and this is not possible, which is another very important point. This entire thing of throwing the hands in the air and accepting certain situations is never going to get you anywhere. This is something that we teach our beginner clients. It's one of the first mindset lessons that we give them. Hey, don't throw your hands in the air. If there is an issue, you find a solution. You don't just give up and say it's not possible because of this, right? And maybe you yourself have certain excuses that you weren't even aware of that make you subconsciously throw your hands in the air, right? Maybe the country that you were born in, the family that you were born in, the city you were born in, the part of the city that you're born in, the education to which you've had access. I mean, there's so many things that people just say, I can't do this. It's not possible for me, my specific situation, and so on and so forth. Get rid of that. You find a solution. That's it. And if you can't find a solution now, you find someone who can help you find a solution. It really is that simple. Which brings me to the next point, and that is ego. A lot of people are believing in their ego. They think they know it all. They think they know better. They think they are special. I'm going to tell you something that might trigger you. You're not special. Neither am I. Nobody's special. We're not born special. Nobody's cut from a different cloth. Okay? The millionaire that you have seen on the TV, the multimillionaire, the actor, the star athlete, they weren't just born with that. Maybe some of them were gifted, but even that is something I don't believe in. Even if you're not gifted, you can get to a certain amount of success by literally just putting in the work. And there's always sacrifice that there has to be made. And all these people that have made it, they never threw their hands in the air and said, this is not possible. They would literally find solutions. And you got to understand that. And oftentimes your ego comes in and says, oh, I know this already. I know better. Well, if you know better, then why don't you have the result already? Right? My mentor always used to say, if you already know how to make $1 million a month, you would already be making $1 million a month. But you're not. So admit that you don't know, and it's okay. It's not a problem to ask for help. It's not an issue at all, right? And if you kind of look at it, this is what has made me a millionaire back in the days with my very first business. By the age of 26, I cracked my first $1 million in revenue. It was very great. It was very beautiful. And a big reason was that years prior to that, I put my brain into a marinade of positivity, of motivation. And the end result, a couple years after that, was I had a lot of money, and that was great. So even before I built this business, I already had all the money that I've ever wished for. I had already reached all the goals that I had wished for, and that's a very beautiful thing. So let's talk more about this brain marinade. Don't throw your hands in the air. Be positive. Also, have no ego. Most importantly, what I would do in my head was even the content that I would consume. Instead of watching news, I would watch positive videos. I would watch videos from people that I would look up to that are where I wanted to be, just to kind of feed on their brain a little bit, just to download a couple % of their brain into my brain. What I would also do is a little insider tip here. I would read a lot of biographies and autobiographies by people that are very successful, because oftentimes these biographies start with them not having the end result. They start with them being, out of shape, being, in a country where there's not a lot of possibilities, but then they got out of it, Arnold Schwarzenegger, great example. He wasn't meant to be this international superstar. He was a little boy from an Austrian, Styrian countryside, just like me, actually. He lived about, I think, 1 or 2 hours away from my home. And those things inspire you because they show you, hey, whoever reached the top isn't much different from me. They, in fact, had the same doubts about themselves, the same obstacles that they've had themselves, right? At this point, also, very good for your brain is my Instagram account. Why is that important for you? Because on that Instagram account, I'm showing a lot behind the scenes. I've mentioned it earlier. I'm showing you the counterbalance of hard work. I'm showing you that I'm working. You see the epic life that I'm getting to live, for which I'm very grateful, but at the same time, you're seeing the hard work I'm putting in, so you can connect the dots and you can understand, hey, if I work hard, I can actually also reach my goals, right? I highly recommend you giving me a follow. I also reply to all DMs. I'm doing daily Instagram stories on there. I'm posting live streams and everything. I'm really putting a lot of effort into my Instagram. The other Instagram account that I can very, very highly recommend you is the Freedom Business Mentoring Instagram account. This is where we're posting our most successful client stories which is also inspiring, good for your brain. We're dropping a lot of business value nuggets, a lot of mindset value nuggets. I'm also replying to all DMs over there. So we're going to show both Instagram accounts. I really recommend you giving a follow for both and reaching out and, just checking out our content. So let's look at where feeding your brain the right things can actually bring you. Imagine fast forwarding 4 to 5 years from now on. You make a decision today that you're only going to feed the good things to your brain as much as humanly possible. If you do that and if you execute a proven path and if you follow the advice that people who are where you want to be are giving you, you'll eventually get to a point where it's even easier to maintain the right brain food, if you will, than before. Because right now it's probably difficult for you. It's probably hard to be in an environment that is always positive. It's probably hard to believe in yourself with the environment that you're currently in. And it's hard to kind of try to get out of that and surround yourself by the right people. Once you're at a certain level, it's actually even easier to maintain that. So for example, because I've made that conscious decision of only feeding my brain the good stuff, nowadays I'm at the point in my life where I can work with whoever I want. Like oftentimes there's even people who offer me a large sum of money. There's people who offer me multiple 5 figures just to be learning from me. But if I don't want to work with them, I can still say no. And that's a beautiful thing. If I say, you're too negative, I don't want my brain to be exposed to that, I just say no. And it's, funnily enough, oftentimes I get a lot of angry messages by people who are like calling me a bad business person because they would have given me money. But at the end of the day, I'm in a position where I can say no. And that's as well in my business life, just as well as in my private life. If I don't want to hang out with a specific person, I can say no to that. I'm not forced to go to a job where there's coworkers or negative bosses that I don't want to deal with. I'm literally in this wonderful bubble of positivity, of opportunity, of working hard, and of working on your dreams. And that's a very, very beautiful thing. So really imagine yourself being in that environment a couple months, couple years from now, but you have to make that decision today. Right? And the last point I want to give you here is the following. Success doesn't come from luck. Success doesn't come from being really motivated for a week. Success comes from habits. Really, write this down. We're going to have this appear on the screen, okay? Success comes from habits. What is a habit? A habit is something that you do over and over again every single day for a long period of time, okay? Minimum 28 days. Some people even say it's over 60 days. If you're able to build a habit, for example, habit of always being positive, habit of always being grateful, habit of always working on your dreams every single day for 30 to 60 days, then it becomes a real habit. And when you then follow that habit for weeks, months, years to come, you can build success yourself. So again, I really try to emphasize that success doesn't come from just being motivated. It's about consistency, and it's about building a habit of the things that you need in order to come closer to your goal. So this video was a little bit more meta, it was a little bit more mindset, but it is important for me. I felt it was important for me to share that with you. So ask yourself the question, are you feeding your brain the good stuff or the bad stuff? And when you say, I want to be in an environment where I'm surrounded by winners, where I'm surrounded by people who support me, where I'm surrounded by people who have the positivity in their brains and the opportunity and the work ethic, then I invite you to jump on a free consulting call with us, and maybe we can help you get there, right? We're primarily focused on beginners who want to break free from the 9-to-5 hamster wheel. They want to self-actualize themselves. They want to, understand what it is that they can be doing in their life. And for that, we offer you a free consulting call. All you have to do is you click that link down in the description below. I'm going to put a link there. Link brings you to a page. Fill out the application, right? That's a little bit of the part of I don't want to work with anybody. Fill out the application. If we like the application, obviously we will notify you if we like it or not. And then maybe you can jump on a free consulting call. If you then want to become our long-term client, you can always discuss that on the consulting call. So I urge you to click down in the description below. We're only human beings. We can only do so many calls per day. So if the link still works, it means we still have a spot open for you. So I'd be very excited to be talking to you. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that. And make sure you're feeding your brain the good stuff. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Max, and thanks to the entire team of the Freedom Business Mentoring. I just joined like literally 3 weeks ago, and yesterday I already posted it, accidentally my first client on 1.5k, and I've already booked the first 500 euro on my bank account. Before I started this mentoring, I didn't know what I should do. I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't exactly know how I could actually make money from it. And now I'm just booking my first 1.5k literally in the first week of September, and I have 3 weeks left for the first month. So how do I feel now? I'm super happy, I'm super confident, and I'm super sure that I'm gonna smash my first figures within the first month.